Welcome back to Diecast Resurrection. In today's video, we're going to take some styling cues from a very popular 55 Chevy, the Candy Striper, and we're going to apply it to a Reproduction Beach Bomb. Let's check it out. Today's Reproduction Beach Bomb has been sent in by my buddy John, who's a patron and friend. If you guys don't know the story on these, check these out. Let me just read the little blurb on it. Bright Vision formed as a company in 2001, making unauthorized high-quality reproductions of the rear-loading Beach Bomb. Mattel eventually sued them for this, and Bright Vision went out of business. Bright Vision re-emerged years later under a different ownership. That is the Bright Vision now that you would see on like Amazon. That's Bright Vision 2.0. And they no longer make these kits, but they do make accessories. They make wheels. They make little surfboards. I think they might even do some decals and a couple other little plastic items. So this here is one of those kits. So what people were doing is taking these reproductions, painting them pink, putting them on real bases like this. I'd assume they're kind of faking the rivets somehow, and then selling them to collectors. So there's all kinds of warnings all over the internet now for counterfeit beach bombs. So you really got to watch it. All this stuff is reproduction except for this base. I don't know how we ended up with an original Beach Bomb base, but here it is. There might be answers in the comments because usually a lot of you guys know more about this stuff than I do. But this is definitely not a reproduction. This is a real deal Hot Wheels base. So in today's video, we're going to be using Magenta Spectraflame as our primary color. So we're going to do a Magenta Candy Striper VW Beach Bomb. Just kind of debating what to do with the body here. As you can see, she's pretty pitted up. She's even starting to bubble below the plating here. We're going to have to investigate this a little bit because there's no sense in doing a big paint job on this if it's just going to rot right through in a couple years, because that's kind of how it's going. There's some little roof bubbles here that are starting to form. So I'm just going to start scotch braiding it and we'll see what happens, I guess. Maybe what we'll do in this video is we'll use my Magenta Spectraflame and we'll do it over silver sealer. There's a couple of you guys in the comments asking about that. What would that look like? So maybe we'll give that a shot. The little bubble there that I thought was going to be oxidation is literally a little copper bubble. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, getting this as flat as I can. Then we'll figure out what's next. You know, these little spots that have little raised bubbles. It must be just a sloppy plating job. So I've got all those little copper pimples all sanded down now, so she's pretty smooth. So now I think I'm going to head to the spray booth and I'm going to spray a little bit of silver sealer on this. And then I'll mix some of this Magenta Spectraflame with a little bit of regular standard 2K urethane clear coat, and we'll get this thing looking a little bit more magenta, and we'll come back and we'll start taping off the white, I believe. Here's our body back from paint. She's looking good. It's looking perfect. All the little flaws that were in the casting are now covered up, so to speak. Silver Sealer does a real nice job of filling in little dents and pits and things. So this is looking pretty good now. I'm going to scuff some of these areas up here. Pretty lucky to work on one of these. You know, an imitation, completely illegal reproduction of a pretty rare casting. That's pretty cool. So I think the little body bump here that separates the top from the bottom, I think that bump we're going to make white. I'll just start in on the vinyls. It's a nice and easy one to do a two-tone on. It's good body style for this. So the roof on this one's going to be a combination of white and magenta stripes. It's going to give it a real sweet look. Trying to get that perfect two-tone. She should be real nice, actually. Check it out, we got our stripes done. Gleek, gleek, gleek. So now I'm going to go spray the white, and once we peel these off, we should have a real nice looking top. It's going to be cool, okay? For anyone who's using these Createx paints, if you find your lines aren't very crisp, try adding more balancing clear to the mix. And this seems to help out. Kind of remove some of the powderiness, if that makes sense. There you go, that's a good looking line right there. Sweet, that's looking pretty legit. It's gonna look real good once it's clear coated and it's all glossy. Hell yeah, man. That's looking real good. So anytime we're doing graphics that require white ink, I got to do a white background first. So this model will be no different. So I've prepared some stencils. Probably would have been a lot easier maybe if I did this all as one vinyl instead of doing a bunch of separate little vinyls, but we're getting it right there. That's what happens when you lay this permanent vinyl down on top of water-based paint. It just peeled that section right off, so I got it remasked. Since we're going to be spraying all this white anyways, I'll have to repair that. So that was a little whoops-a-daisy on my part. Like that. You know, if you a guy could just go on eBay and you can buy a candy striper decal set, no problem, with white toner, ready to go. So we're kind of doing things the hard way here, but I don't know, there's something satisfying about doing it this way. Alright, well here she is. She doesn't look like much right now. I promise she'll start looking better once I get a couple of these decals over top of this white. See if these decals will bring a little life to this here project. It's not looking too bad so far. We need a few more decals to tie the room together though. That's looking pretty good so far. Boy, I really had to wrestle to get this one in place. So spent a bunch of time fiddling around with all these little itty bitty decals. Hopefully John likes it. I'm really digging it so far. It's going to look even better with the clear coat. So let's go do that, and then we'll be able to put the base together and do a final assembly. Hell yeah. I like where this is going so far. There we go. I'd say that's a little bit of an improvement. It's looking a lot better. I can sure tell that these axles are reproductions. They feel super duper flimsy. And super flimsy, but that's alright. Sweet, so that's good to go. Why don't I go check on her body, and if that thing's dry, we're going to do an assembly. And yeah, we'll have a look at this thing. It's beautiful. Beautiful little van. So what do you guys think? Here is our Candy Striper edition Volkswagen Beach Bomb. I think she turned out pretty good. I really like the look of this one. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but not too bad, not too bad. I might go back and put one more coat of clear on it. I'm not sure. She's a little bit geographical over the decals, and that kind of showed up after it baked in the oven for a little bit. So I might do another little sand and go back just to make it perfect before I give her back to John. But I really like the look of this one. I like the idea overall. She turned out pretty cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like to support the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.